Is this recording? Is there a piece of paper? I can't, maybe in a second. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out tonight, especially on Halloween night. I was hoping to see a few more zombies in the audience. Maybe that's your costume. I don't know. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Roland Beekster. I'm an associate professor of English here, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Humanities on the Edge speaker series. Marco Ebel, who is the other co-founder, he's not here tonight. As many of you already might know, Marco is in Germany right now with a prestigious fellowship at the American Academy of Berlin. But I do want to point out that some of my fellow conspirators are in fact here in the audience. I want to point to Jeanette Jones here, who joined our team immediately after Marco and I studied, so she has been with us for many years now. Thank you, Jeanette. And as is often the case, the Humanities on the Edge, the organizing team is joined by new members every now and then. So I wanted to point out that I see two of our new members in the audience. Melissa Yan is sitting here. Melissa is Associate Curator of Exhibitions here at the Sheldon Museum. And right next to her is Luis Rosa Rodriguez, who is an Assistant Professor of Spanish at the Modern Language Department. And as of, just for next year, Luis is going to take over and he's going to be actually in charge of running the series. So we're looking forward to his contributions. Now, I want to point to the slide behind me. As many of you already know, this is a very special occasion in the history of the speaker series, as we are celebrating the 10th year anniversary. The speaker series started in 2009, and a lot can happen in 10 years, and a lot did, and this is at least some of the archive of our invited speakers. So far, we invited 38 speakers, and by the end of the 10th year, we will have invited 43. And this means that this year, actually, we are going to have 5 speakers, and not only 4, which is the norm for us. We will keep you updated about what's going to happen in the spring semester. Tonight's event marks the end of the 4th semester for Humanities on the Edge. Now, usually, as you can see on the posters, we select an annual theme for the series, and we ask our guests to address that specific topic from the perspective of their own expertise. For this 10th year, however, we decided to do something different. We decided to just invite people whose work appeared to be relevant for us. And if there's anything that nevertheless provides some sort of a common ground, in my reading at least, it is the very title of the speaker series, Humanities on the Edge. And let me just then say a few words about the title itself, and that's really just the core of my introduction. So the question is, what is this edge that the humanities appear to be on right now? And we chose this metaphor of the edge in order to evoke two of its possible, maybe even contradictory meanings. On the one hand, this edge is the edge of a crisis. For quite some time now, we have been conditioned to take for granted the rhetoric of crisis that has invaded every publicly available discourse. So this is the edge that we all live on today, the perpetual state of mobilization that has become the very medium of our existence. In fact, this perpetual crisis is more than mere rhetoric. It is the very means of the active reorganization of both human and non-human life today. So this is one of the meanings of the act, but the other meaning, which might be more appealing to us, is that there is a certain type of humanities scholarship, let's call it a cutting-edge humanities scholarship, that responds to this perpetual crisis, or this perpetual mobilization of crisis. And these contradictory meanings are what we sort of wanted to capture in the title of the speaker series. And tonight's talk will certainly address this issue. And I do believe that our guest, Claire Corbu's recent work, is really at the core of this type of thinking, and to what extent apocalyptic thinking is mobilized today, precisely for the organization of life under very specific regimes of power. And her scholarship is the kind of scholarship that responds to this. But before I introduce our guest today, as always, let me just thank our sponsors. As most of these events teetering on the edge, it wouldn't be possible if some generous people contributed money towards the realization of our plans and visions. So I would like to thank the Departments of English, Communication Studies, History, Political Science, Modern Languages, as well as the programs in Film Studies, Judaic Studies, Women's and Gender Studies, the Institute for Ethnic Studies, the Sheldon Museum of Art, as well as UNL's Faculty Senate and Research Council for their generous contributions. We also want to thank Anthony Hawley. Anthony Hawley has been the local artist who has been with us from the very beginning. For the 10th year, he already moved away from Nebraska, so he's no longer local, but in order to sort of bring this project to an end, he still agreed to design the 10th year of the design that involves the posters and the various postcards that we use to spread the news about the speaker series. In addition, we also like to thank NET Radio for allowing us to promote our events. On the Friday at the Mill Show, Claire today participated in an interview that was recorded and is already available on the NET Radio website. You will have the link on our Facebook page if you're interested. Finally, I also would like to thank the representatives of the Watershed Collective. I just saw some of you here in the audience. The Watershed Blog Collective is a group of mostly English graduate students, but not exclusively, and it's an independent blog of critical theory at www.watershedblog.com. They publish essays on various topics, including on our guests' work and our lecture events. We thank them for putting so much effort and energy and time into supporting this series. Before I introduce the guests, then please join me in being a give a round of applause for all of our supporters here. And now, before I see the podium to our guests, just a few words about Dr. Claire Colebrook, who's going to be the 40th speaker in the history of the series. Originally hailing from Australia, Melbourne, if I understand it correctly. She received her doctorate in English literature from Edinburgh University, so in Scotland. And after holding various positions, she actually returned to Edinburgh and taught there for a number of years. Currently, she's Edwin Earl Sparks Professor of English, Philosophy, and Women's and Gender and Sexuality Studies at Penn State University. She established her reputation as an authority on the works of the French philosopher Gilles Deleuze. A prolific and challenging writer, she is now the author and co-author, if I counted correctly, of 21 books. That's correct, huh? Okay, 21 books. Too many to list individually here, and several of these actually have been now translated into languages like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Turkish, and even Persian. I will just mention here a few of these recent titles that might have some relevance for tonight's talk, so if you're inspired and you want to check them out. One of them is The Death of the Posthuman, Essays on Extinction, Volume 1, and Sex After Life, Essays on Extinction, Volume Number 2, both of them published by the Open Humanities Press in 2014. Two of her forthcoming books include Fragility, Species, Planet, and Archive, from this forthcoming from Duke University Press, and Unlivable, which is a co-authored book with Lee Edelman and Jacques Calib, and this is forthcoming from Columbia University Press. In addition to these books, she's also the editor and co-editor of 10 collection of essays. These include volumes like Extinction, Open Humanities Press again in 2012, Women Novelists, Post 9/11 Context. This was co-edited with Sebastian Gross and Peter Childs, published by Lexington Books in 2014, and Posthumous Rights and Inhuman Life, co-edited with Jamie Weinstein, and published by Columbia Press in 2016. In addition, she is the author and co-author of well over 150 articles, so I'm not going to list them. The title of our talk tonight is, what would you do and who would you kill in order to save the world? Post-apocalyptic cinema and extinction. Please join me in welcoming her to UNM.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for